Welcome everybody back to Boost Motion, guys. And I honestly cannot believe this. What are we seeing now in the car community? We now have an all-wheel drive Corvette. This is insane. So, guys, before I jump into the video, I am Boost Motion. I am a Nissan enthusiast, a car enthusiast. I also report the news. So please don't shoot the messenger. But I'm gonna report the news on this, and I'm also gonna give you guys my honest opinion because this is blowing my mind. I never thought we would see a hybrid powered whatever this would be Corvette. And honestly, it seems pretty freaking cool. So, guys, if you know you made it to this part of the video, my Boost Motion family has already hit that like button. Thank you guys for your support. So, let's jump into it. So, as you guys have probably already realized, we saw a couple of spy shots a couple of months ago with, at least if you are a car enthusiast, you've been looking around. Chevy had this car lurking around, and people really thought it was going to be the Z06. Who would have known that now the 2024 Chevy Corvette E-Ray sets America's sport car on a radical new course, right? So, moving forward, the 2024 Corvette enters the fray as the first Corvette to have an all-wheel drive and a hybrid powertrain. The E-Ray 160 horsepower front-mounted electric motor, guys. This is a front-mounted electric motor that sits at the front axle pretty much, and 495 mid-mounted 6.2 liter V8, pretty much LS. And combined, when you put these together, it makes 655 horsepower. Guys, I just know these cliff notes. You don't understand it, but the fact that number one, it's still a V8 car. Two, they use an electric motor at the front, which it probably delivers an instant amount of torque. And then mixing these two together, these systems to work, it probably, even though the car is a little heavier, it would be the fastest Corvette that ever take off ever. And knowing that they made it an all-wheel drive is super dope. And it's a V8. Oh my god. Along with the regular Stingray's heart, the hybrid Corvette has a hardcore Z06 wide hips and an E-Ray exclusives. Believe it or not, some Corvette fans really weren't happy with the Chevy's mix with the recipe of his favorite sports car. While moving to the small block V8 from the front to the middle, fast forward, we already know about this stuff. Now the purists are likely to be even more pissed off with the arrival of the 2024 E-Ray, which adds fuel and electrons to the fire as the first vet that's all-wheel drive. And I understand, I know these Chevy guys are pissed off. By combining those new traits with a regular Stingray's V8 heart and a track-focused Z06 wide body. So they gave you guys the wide body look of the Z06. The E-Ray alters the identity of America's prominent sports car and sets it to a new radical course. So I don't want to get into the history of it. Let's fast forward it. They're breaking down too much stuff. So at heart, the 6.2 liter pushrod V8 inherited from the Stingray, known as the LT2. The engine feeds the rear wheels via an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Cool. Only now the front mounted electric motor is a mix with a 160 horsepower and 125 pounds of torque. The drive unit is said to be about the size of a 12-pack. 12-pack of beer, with a magnesium casting and an E-Ray specific oil cooler located behind the driver's side front bumper, along the hybrid setup, making this 655 horsepower and constitutes an all-wheel drive system. So this is the part that matters the most. Moving forward, Corvette Z06 Coupe and Convertible, the hybrid is available in both styles. Based on our measurements of 366 pounds Z06 Coupe and a 379 pound Z06 Convertible, the E-Ray will likely tip our scales at about 3,900 to 4,100 pounds respectively. That will also mean that the drop top E-Rays is in the first production Corvette to eclipse 2 tons. So the car is probably going to essentially gain between 300 to 400 pounds, right? But if they did the dynamics right, once again, it's not necessarily a sports car. It's a sports car, but it's going to be an all-wheel drive sports car. And can you understand now that you can give it gas and you don't have to worry about fit? I know that traction control system is pretty good on the mid-engine cars, but now you have even more control. And knowing people should be really happy about this because now, even though essentially it's a heavier car, when it comes to now modifying it and adding more power, I wonder how that system's actually going to work now. I like to see that there is a mix now, a cohesion of sport car, muscle cars with some kind of hybrid system. Now, use an example of like the Mercedes C63 that's coming out, which is going to be a four-cylinder electric assist turbo, all-wheel drive with two final drive ratios on electric motors in the rear. That car sounds dope as hell, but it's also going to be 4,700 pounds. So it doesn't excite me enough, you know. But seeing a Corvette with a naturally aspirated V8 and a front mounted electric motor, and the car maybe only 4,000 pounds. Now we're still in the realm of the car's still about 2 tons, but it's gonna be making like 6 to 700 horsepower, respectively, depending on the dyno, and a lot of torque. So I'm way more excited about this as a sports car because most sports cars sit at about this weight, and the Corvette essentially will be right around there. Super dope, and you can add a supercharger to it. Oh, all you need to do is make the Hellcat all-wheel drive by now. Come on, just make it. Despite the extra poundage, the E-Ray's all-wheel drive traction and electric torque contributes to the Chevy's claim that it's the quickest factory vet ever. The company says that the coupe will hit 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. That is super car acceleration, 2.5 seconds. With it just a tenth better than a 2.6 ticks clocked with a Targa Top Z06. The E-Ray also claims a quarter mile of 10.5, identical to our Z06 test. As much as they want to compare this to the Z06, they could do that any day, all day. The Z06 is going to be better. I get it. But knowing that this car would have that mix in it and will have the better control from it, super dope. And for people who may want to modify the car, it's also there to add a supercharger, a twin turbo, a single turbo LS LT2. Come on. The E-Ray also claimed, for those attempting high-speed runs at the track, the electric motor is geared out to an adequate of 150 miles an hour. Chevy claims E-Ray has a top speed of 180 miles an hour. So pretty much anything for the people who are nerds. This is a small 1.0 kilowatt lithium battery power. A separate 12-volt lithium battery supports a V8 start function and other accessories. Chevy says it weighs about 100 pounds with a 80 pouch supply, but assembled by GM. Okay, it's a tiny battery. It also is the reason why E-Ray isn't a plug-in hybrid. So pretty much, guys, it's not a plug-in hybrid. This is not a hybrid vehicle. You won't plug it in. It's not there for that. Excuse me, guys. Pure electric driving is very limited. So you guys, you can drive it on just pure electric. With Chevy's estimated up to 5 miles on the range of the E-Race exclusive stealth mode. Pretty much, guys, this turns off the V8 motor and you'll drive front wheel drive, I would assume. I don't know about all wheel. I don't know if it's going to say here, but front wheel drive, I would assume, because it sits on the front. And essentially, it'll be a front wheel drive Corvette up to 5 miles. The latter only works up to 45 miles an hour until the driver activates the gas engine with the throttle. The main benefit of stealth mode is it respecting others with the ability to quietly exit neighborhoods without gas engine soundtrack. The electric motor has an open differential, that sucks, and uses a brake bias torque vector, and pretty much uses ABS. This is a cheaper way of doing it. It also intended to optimize performance rather than efficiency. So while the hybrid should be more frugal Corvette as the gas pump, don't expect Prius level fuel economy, which we understand. It's gonna have that mix, and I particularly understand why. So this is some of the most important part here. The experience on a closed track GM's Milford ground showcased it ability to perform an awesome drift despite no dedicated drift mode. Also missing is a line lock feature, but it does have a Z06 custom launch control, and engineer assured us it can do a burnout. Super freaking dope. So they pretty much talk about what it still gets. It gets wider tires, has the wider hips. It also gets the Z07 performance package if you want to choose to get that. And it even says carbon ceramic brakes. That is unnecessary for this car. The type of tires, Michelin Pilot all seasons. And moving forward, the fronts are paired with a reworked suspension where the shock towers were raised and connecting brace was added to accommodate the half shafts from the electric motor for the front wheel. So pretty much they didn't just throw it in there. It seems like they also designed it too so it can have the additional weight and probably made it so it can actually handle the road or tracks properly. So all in all, let's fast forward here to talk about some of the interior stuff. Finally, the price. The 2024 E-Ray will go on sale later this year with the base 1LZ coupe starting at $105,000, guys. That's nearly $40,000 more than a base 2023 Stingray coupe and $7,000 less than a 2023 Z06 coupe. The E-Ray convertible costs an extra $7,000 with a starting price of and pretty much $12,000, guys, for the one LTZ trim. Of course, I don't even want to talk about this anymore, guys. This is expensive. These cars now, even though I talk so highly and so dope about this vehicle in this conversation with you guys, even though I went in, listen, I went in about it, but it's $105,000 plus 110. So these things aren't going to even be obtainable. And at 100 and something thousand dollars for anyone who's freaking watching, even though it sounds super dope, there are still other cars, even the older vehicles that are a little bit older based on age, that will deliver you way more exciting performance, may not have as much tech, but at this price point, it's still just a regular LS in there. Maybe if it was a supercharged V8 with this hybrid system, super dope like that, then I'd be like, all right, 100 plus. But this is just a regular LT2 in there with an electric motor on the front drive shaft. Stop the BS, Chevy. Stop the BS. So outside that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. If you agree with me, hit that like button. If you disagree with me, comment below. I know I usually guys don't like, once again, talking about other cars out some of our spectrum, but we are looking at these cars because as we get older, we're not going to just stick to one brand. I like to see what the other brands are doing, and I get where they're going with this, but they're definitely charging additional money just because it has this technology. So all in all, I still think you should just get a regular C8, not a Z06. And if you can get back down to that MSRP of 60, 70 grand, just stick with that and save $30,000, $40,000 and have fun with that. So outside of guys, you have good morning, good afternoon, good night. Add me at boostinmotion IG, Facebook. Also, you can send me email at boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you.